Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today we have a special show where we are once again on the road in Texas following our day at Garrison Bros. My name is Steve Akeley. I'm joined by Tony Vitale. Hey, Tony, what's up, man?
I'm doing great. This has been a fantastic week, and being my first experience with barrel picks, it's been awesome.
Yes. So before we get to talking about what went down at Garrison Brothers today, we've had a couple barbecue meals. Turns out we're both fans of barbecue.
Of course, yes.
And overall, if you had to say one thing was your favorite, in terms of barbecue, not necessarily what we ate on the strip or anything like that, but if you have a favorite barbecue item, what is that?
Well, I am a big fan of a beef brisket, given that someone just nails it. Because, beef brisket's a very tricky one to do. I mean, I've tried it myself. And aside from that, I'm definitely a huge fan of some really good ribs as well.
Yes, very nice. I am a big fan of beef brisket as well, but what I specifically like, and it's not really a thing down here in Texas, but I like when you're in Kansas City, the burnt ends.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's the best. That is my favorite thing of all time.
The burnt ends for sure. Even the time when I had my new smoker and I took a try at a whole brisket, I did make burnt ends from that, and that was even certainly. I mean, even I couldn't mess that up. That's the burnt ends for sure. In fact, I could just do burnt ends all day.
Yeah, me too. So, what would you say your specialty is? Because you do a little smoking stuff, right? You smoke some things?
Yeah, I dabble a bit, yeah.
Okay, what do you think you do best?
Well, I mean, anyone will tell you, pulled pork is really hard to mess up.
Uh-huh.
I mean, anybody could pull off a good pulled pork.
Yeah. That's kind of at the lower end of the
barbecue that's true.
Hierarchy, I'd say.
And I didn't do horribly at my hand at brisket, but at the same time, I think the thing I've pulled off, really well is when I, pull out the smoker in November and do a turkey on the smoker.
Okay.
And the few times I've done that, I've been very pleased.
It's turned out
results.
well.
Oh, yeah, very much.
I'll tell you what, that's interesting. I'm respectful of that. I can't seem to get I've never tried a turkey.
Yeah.
But I can't seem to get the chicken right. I'll try doing the beer can chicken, all this kind of stuff, and it's never right. It's never good. I don't know. I always feel when I cook it, I'll be like, I'd be better off going to a restaurant. Whereas my favorite thing is the brisket. I think I do a pretty damn good brisket. And when I eat that, I'm like, this is better than what I can get out.
Well, if you do a good brisket, then I will have to have a sample of what you do.
Oh, man. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Tony just invited himself over to my house now.
Yeah. And you might have some bottles of bourbon around I might like to take a look at.
This is true. Certainly plenty of that stuff going on. Absolutely.
Although only you know where it's at.
Yeah. You're not wrong about that. Yeah, it's all over the house, though. I mean, there's plenty of good things all around. So, there's probably 1,500 open bottles for you, Tony. So,
well,
I'm sure you can find something.
I'm sure I can walk in your house and not be able to swing a dead cat without hitting a bottle of bourbon.
This is true. But I'm trying to work on it. I have made a very conscious effort. Now, here we are. The Barrel Shop has been open for 8 months, and really, other than buying a couple bottles from us, I really haven't bought anything since then. So, even though there's a lot there, it's less than what it used to be, and it'll be less moving forward too. I'm just going to keep dwindling down. I'd like to get it where it's manageable. 200 bottles is enough.
Well, I'll have to tell you, your shop has had the same effect where I've cut down on buying bottles at all these different stores I go into, and now when I do buy a bottle, it's usually from your shop. And
Yeah.
so pretty soon my ABV barrel picks are going to overtake what's in my collection.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, what we'll do next, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about our day at Garrison Brothers. We'll do that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We will also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
This is Willie C. Moore, and I'm here with MB Rowan, and you're listening to the Bourbon Kit Daily.
All right, everybody, welcome back. My name is Steve Akeley. I'm joined by Tony Vitale, and we are here we're in Fredericksburg, Texas is actually where we're at.
We're still in Fredericksburg?
We're still in Fredericksburg, yeah.
Okay.
Home of lots of German restaurants.
And wineries.
We
discovered, how many did they tell us they probably
they said there's over 40 wineries right here.
Literally, it's
I've never seen
insane.
anything like it. I've never been to Napa. Have you?
No.
No, so we don't have that as a basis. But I got to say, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the main road or highway we were taking into town here to get to hotel, I swear, every point along the road, it was one winery after another.
Yes. And that's cool. I get it. I get a winery area, and we've got, we have some of that going on in Missouri. People probably think Missouri's got the greatest winery area ever. No, it does not. But this was pretty spectacular. But I just didn't think, what amazed me, Tony, is there was no other businesses that kind of support that clientele that's coming down to drink wine. There wasn't like a bunch of restaurants sprinkled in between. There weren't all these like hotels and stuff like that. It was just winery. You look on one side of the road's winery, other side of the road's winery. You get to pass that property. Here comes 2 more wineries each side of the road. It was the whole way for, I don't know, 20 miles.
Yeah, and then you go into the main dragon town, and it was just one German foodery after another. I mean,
that was weird.
How much schnitzel can you eat?
Yeah. It was something. We went to one last night. I forget what it even was. It was some sausage.
Some sort of German sausage.
The damn thing, it was a sausage sandwich. So I thought, oh, I know what a sandwich is.
Yeah.
No, this thing was like, you're talking about like a foot long hot dog. This was like a foot and a half long sausage. I mean, this thing was insane.
It was at least 2 feet.
Probably. It was wild. But yeah, and then I held on, I got the dessert too. Ooh, that was good, buddy. Oh man.
Well, you know me. I'm not in a dessert mode these days.
Yeah. Well, there's sometimes a vacation though. You gotta.
No, I've actually upped my carb intake more than usual this week.
Yeah. Well, you kind of had to.
Well, you had to live it up.
Right. You gotta live it up. Yeah. Be back on starting tomorrow, right?
I'll be back on the low carb diet again.
He's back on track. All right. So Tony, so we go into Garrison Brothers today. Tell us a little bit about your experience there.
Well, I mean, the thing that I found remarkable, or just in my limited experiences with barrel picks, I mean, certainly just amongst the 3 I had, I mean, this one was also much different, from the prior 2. I really liked how they gave us a pretty good, as far as tours of distilleries go. I thought you got a really good up close, experience with like seeing the cooking and the beer wort, and then, seeing the fermenting tanks, and then, I'm sure this happens on a lot of tours, but, this is the first time I got to sample and taste, the mixture along the way from when it's like a mash until, where you get to the white dog. Wow. And then, I mean, I haven't had too much of this. So for me, that was a pretty neat port.
What distilleries have you toured in the past?
Well, this is it.
No wonder you haven't seen it.
I know. I mean, we're at Iron Root, still Austin, and now this. So I mean,
so this has been it. So this was. So the difference with today was kind of a traditional tour in that we had a tour guide take us, though it was just us. It was just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. It was a good tour for sure. And
even though, I mean, they're a sizable distillery.
They are.
But at the same time, visiting, the actual facilities there, I mean, it still had this nice sort of small, like almost craft feel in a way. It didn't feel like this enormous, operation.
Right.
I mean, until I saw the rick houses, and oof.
Yeah. Well, they got 4 stills working up there, so that's pretty amazing. So
and then the distiller there who is kind of giving us the run through on the process and stuff. Like I said, out of the few times I've done this, I really got a lot out of that. So,
yeah. So we take a tour, and then we go over and pick the barrels. So they send us over to a rick house. We have the distiller helps us, and this was different than any barrel pick that I've ever been on. In that they didn't have anything prepared. They said, "You guys get to pick 5 barrels, and it's up to you to pick those barrels." So I right away I picked one that I like the number. So I like the number 12 and had the number 12 incorporated into it. That sounds dumb, but what else are you picking on? You're looking at barrel numbers. There's nothing really else to pick on other than because I don't know. There's all the mash bills are the same.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're like, well, let's try a weeder on this next one. Garrison Brothers doesn't do that. They have one mash bill.
Exactly.
So, it's just a matter of kind of unless you want to just pick by sight. And we did do one of those. So there was one that was really beat up and nasty looking.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing: as we're trying these, they evolved in taste pretty quickly. I think across the board.
That really stood out. I mean, this was different. Where this was the first one I did where they didn't like take a thief, from open up the bunghole, thief it out. Where we actually drilled a hole, in one part of the barrel to make a vent. And then you drilled in the other and quickly put your glass under the stream to capture it, and which was kind of fun. That was neat. But you always think about how like when you buy a bottle and then you open it up and then like how it like evolves after you open it. This was seriously the first time, after pouring it into the glass, within minutes as we were going and comparing them. I'd come back to one where I initially thought, okay, no way, this one's not in the running. But then I was like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
It just gave me something
There
different.
was more of going back and tasting through than any barrel pick I've ever been on. So again, we end up getting 5 barrels that we're tasting, and there was a lot of going back and forth. This one versus this one. This one versus this one.
Oh yeah.
A lot of that kind of stuff. Way more than normal. So
Yeah.
that was cool. Ultimately, what we picked was a 4.5-year-old barrel. It came in at a whopping 133.5 proof.
Can't be mad at that.
Good. They were even surprised about that. That's good. That's the level. 130 proof and above is where they have their cowboy bourbon at.
Yes.
So this would be one that would qualify. It's not cowboy bourbon because that's a special release they do once a year.
Yeah.
But this one, by nature, would qualify to be considered under that label, which is very cool. I'm pretty proud of that. I think we did really good, man.
Although I didn't have the glory of this time of picking my first pick was not the same as yours.
Yes.
But naturally, Steve did pull the trump card on this and say, "Well, yeah, I'm paying for this, so I'm picking this one."
Yes.
Which fair enough,
Yeah.
But of course, I'll trust him over my palate any day.
So yeah, I just felt, the first one we both agreed on, which was great. We agreed on the first and the last one when we were doing a pick at Iron Root. This one we had different opinions on what was the best.
Well, we had the same three. We
did
like
narrow it down to the same three,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
But ultimately, the one that was my favorite was his least favorite. And I just thought, you know what? Here's the deal. When you only got 2 people, normally Jim and I end up, we're either really close, we're right on the same page. You and I were opposite on this one, and I thought, you know what? The tiebreaker is I got to represent the shop. I'm the one who's paying the bill, so this is what I'm going to do. That one wins. So yeah,
it was close.
Yeah, the one you had, I'm not saying it was bad by any means. It was good.
Yeah,
It was good.
I thought the 3 that we settled on were pretty neck and neck, but of course, if we had to have a tiebreaker,
yeah, I had to break the tie.
Yeah, you had to break it.
So we're excited about this. This has been a great trip. I feel like business-wise, we've managed to accomplish a lot of things down here. I do feel like Texas is one of the states to keep an eye out for, that they are certainly coming up into their own when it comes to whiskey making. And we've got some good relationships with 3 of the pretty big players in Texas whiskey right now, with Garrison Brothers, Still Austin, and Iron Root Republic. So pretty excited about what that means, Tony.
Oh yeah, and I certainly after this experience would not think of turning my nose up away from Texas bourbon. I mean, they're definitely doing it. So
yeah, it's different. They have a different take on how they have to do things, but you know what? That's from trial and error. And some of the things that they had early on weren't that great, but that's, again, trial and error. You can't, it's a totally different climate than Kentucky. You got to figure it out. And they figured it out, and they're making some really good stuff. And the stuff that I tried all 3 days in our 3 days here in Texas was fantastic. And I'm really happy about what we have going on. And of course, you can try it out too at the ABV Barrel Shop, because we do try before you buy. So on that note, we're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Tony, we're starting with you. Where can people find you?
Well, you can just find me on good old Facebook under Tony Vitale, and I post quite often there about bourbon, mostly in the bourbon pages, St. Louis Bourbon Society, Someone Say Whiskey, and Bourbon Real Talk community, and of course all the ABV network pages.
All right. For me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. That's the one you got to check out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Maybe you want to hear one of our old interviews with Garrison Brothers. We've interviewed both of them on separate shows, so check it out. Again, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us at the ABV Barrel Shop. We are located in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. We'd love to see you live and in person, have you taste some of the whiskey that we've got in stock. Check us out at abvbarrelshop.com. Please give us a 5-star review. It helps new people find the show. That's pretty darn important to us. You leave comments when you do so. That also helps out. And again, we'll just get more people following along with what we're doing. And last but not least, if you like what we're doing, get involved. Head over to patreon.com/theabvnetwork. On that note, we'll let you go. Please vote every day. We are trying to be the best liquor store in St. Louis on the A list. So go out to STL Magazine and you can vote there, or just follow us on our social media, where we already just talked about, and it's out there. Just click on the links and give us a vote each and every day from now until April 10th.
Vote early and vote often.
All right. Take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.